My name is Alex, and today we talk about past lives. I found a girl named Alice, which can read our past lives. Let's talk to her.
My name is Alisa, or Alice. I am from Ukraine. I live in Austria, and I just did a course on reading my past lives, and there was a lecture about how to scan another person, and I just did a video once about it, and now I am apparently a guru on past lives.
Alice scans people's past lives with meditation.
Relax. Charging with energy. Spreading the light onto the person I'm scanning. Going down the spiral to the space between lives. So peaceful. Feeling the vibration of the most powerful past life. Falling. OMG. What is happening? Where is this person? Okay, got them. Asking questions. Observing. Time to go back. Cleansing. Okay, I'm back. What year is it?
I was meditating since I was 16, so 40 minutes long meditation practices are not very hard for me to be concentrated on and not to fall asleep. And for most people it's hard.
I guess I would fall asleep in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but
because you're not trained to this.
What's the meditation for? Just to learn more about yourself?
So meditation is the thing that I would recommend anybody, because it's very good for improving your concentration skills. So when I was starting it, I wanted to be less distracting for myself, because I always drifted away from the things I needed to do.
Okay.
Then I learned that meditation works as a self-development tool. You start hearing thoughts in your head, you start being alone with yourself, and you learn more about how your brain works, why you think like that, and which thoughts cause which emotions, for example.
I'm always really distracted if I do something or if I have to concentrate. It's always oh, there's my phone. Oh, let's make a coffee. Oh, let's do this. and
one thought just catches another thought and catches another thought.
A lot of people describe things like this as witchcraft or something. Do you consider yourself as a Wiccan or witch?
I don't consider this particular thing as a witchcraft, a very gift thing or something like that. It's this skill. Anybody can learn how to do this.
You look to other people's past life. Did you ever see yours?
Yes, of course. I started with them.
What were your past lives? Or the most interesting one?
I know that I had many, and I didn't see all of them. Sometimes, there were 2 scans I did for other people where I discovered that I had also a past life in their world or with them. So it's interesting. My past lives, one of the most resourceful one is Alexander from ancient Greece. He was legionnaire. He had some group of soldiers under his lead. He was kind of a very charismatic guy. And I just remember that his story was kind of strange because he got killed in a war. And he got killed because he was stupid. So he was injured and he didn't clean his wounds.
Yeah.
But he was told to. And just because he didn't clean them, he just died because this wound, something got into it and he was infected and he died.
Do you think you kept a part of a personality he has? If he didn't clean the wounds and stuff, he forgot something. Do you think, or do you describe yourself as really forgetful or something like this?
Maybe, but it's why is it resourceful? Because I use the skills or the things that I learned there or had there in my life right now. So, for example, he was way more charming. He had more leadership skills than I do. He knew how to make people like him and stuff like that. And I'm just learning to do that. So I use his skills in my life and I need him in my life, his personality stuff. And maybe I kept some forgetfulness. but I don't think I wouldn't clean my wound.
Now that you know your past life, you can learn from it. But do you think it has a reason why we are born again, just to learn it over and over again?
So, from my perspective, the reason why we are born again is because we choose to be born again and we choose what we want to learn again. And sometimes we just have the repeated issues from one life to another that we didn't solve in the previous one. And sometimes when people go into their past lives and see where it all started, they can just avoid doing the same mistake. But we're born again because we need something from this life. And every life has different purpose and different experiences that we will need to live through. But sometimes something is left from previous lives that we didn't quite get.
Yeah.
So we repeat it like a course in university that we didn't get a normal degree, grade for.
So you said we decide to be born again.
Yeah.
So if I decide at the end of my life, I want to die and never be born again, I won't be born again?
You cannot decide if you're going to be born again while you're incarnated. Because you're not in your true soul form. And you don't decide anything here about your soul's path. When you are dead already and you in this between lives state, you decide what are you going to do next. And we don't know what happened there, how it looks like. If my soul wants to be born again, it will be reborn. If it doesn't, it goes to another level of something that I cannot even imagine what there is.
So you think there is an in-between world where our souls decide where to go?
Yeah, it's like the original world. I like this analogy of games that we as souls have a range of different games that we can play. And our life on Earth is just one game from the variety of them. So there are different worlds, different games, different realities and stuff. And when we go there, we decide, I want to have this experience now.
I got a question from a subscriber from me. When she was smaller, she had a really weird dream. She described that she saw herself, but herself in a past life dying. The question is, do you think you can see your past life also in your dream? Or do you describe dreams as a form of meditation?
So there are two different questions. If I know, if I can think that it's possible to see your past life in a dream, of course, yes, because for example, if you have a trauma in this life and your memory blocks something from your head, you can still see nightmares with that memory, even though you don't remember it happening to you. But sometimes they can slip into your mind, and sometimes you see some things and you think they're very you know them. So you see something and I've been there or I've lived there, but you didn't. So it's also like this. And the biggest sign that it is a past life is that a person thinks it is, and they feel like it was their past life, because our intuition tells us a lot of things and we should trust it more. So if you feel like something is connected to your past life, it probably is.
And when I see something like déjà vus, when I see a place and I was like, oh, I have been there before, or I know the street goes to the right and then it is like this. Do you think this is also from our past lives, so we were there before?
Again, if you feel like it is from your past life and nothing else comes to your mind, like what it could be, of course. But if you think that, oh, apparently I've been here before, or I've seen the map of this place, or like I had a dream about it. So like there are different things that can happen with our brain, and sometimes it's just a psychological thing that happens to our brain, that we just don't remember something and it just comes to us. Oh, I've been here. But if you feel like, yeah, I must have been here, but I don't remember being here, it must have been my past life. That's connected to your past life. If you know this place too well and you are like first time here, probably it's your past life.
Yeah, because I often have things like that I think like, oh, I was here before, or I was here once. Once I was on holidays and I actually remembered exactly how the street would look or where I have to go, even if I was never there before. But I didn't think about past lives then.
But that's very cool when you can do that.
Well,
because I didn't have such like feelings. I just know about my past life from the things that I just discovered through this meditation, and some things made more sense. So I had one past life where the girl had like a stone with something carved on it from her like loved one, and she carried it around, and I was like, oh, that's why I always collect some random stones from everywhere. But it's not like when I collect the stone, I'm like, oh, it's the stone from my loved one. No, it's just, oh, I like the stone and it reminds me of this place, and I will carry the piece of this place with me.
But it's pretty cool if you figure out why you do decent things like collecting stones or something.
Yeah, it like makes sense.
What exactly do you see when you see a past life when you're meditating? Do you see like visions, or do you see it in front of your eyes, or is it more like a dream you have?
Do you daydream? When you imagine some like things happening, like you have a car and you are, I don't know, racing somewhere, and you feel some things like wind on your face, or like the feel of this car or something like that. So the same thing is with this past lives. It just, I never know which movie it will show me. When I'm in somebody else's past life, I just see it like from the third person perspective, as like I'm a ghost there, and I see stuff happening, but I cannot like influence it in any way. I just can like ask questions and hope that I will be answered. It's like a movie inside my head. So I see sometimes like pictures, images, but usually it's like a movie and something is happening, and I just have to run around with this person to see what they will do. And when I go into my past life, I'm just in my past life body, and I have other like feelings in my body. I feel my body in another way, like it's bigger, it's heavier, or maybe it's smaller, and I have like longer hair or shorter.
You said you could make a past life scan of me. If I give you questions to ask to my past life, is this possible? If you, like you said, you ask questions, if this possible, if I give you questions for my past life, that you ask them?
I can ask them, but I don't know if they will answer it.
If you ask them something, if they are good or bad, do they show you something?
I don't ask them if they are good or bad, usually, because that's not the thing I should ask. If I am in the past life and I see what they're doing and how they are thinking and like what is the feel, I already feel what they are doing. But like bad and good is just our thing to describe some experiences, and for the soul it's not something bad or good, it's just experience. So it's like you cannot say that your past life was bad, it was just experience.
I guess we will leave with this, and if you want we can meet up if you did the scan and talk about this.
Okay.
I forgot a question last time. This birthmarks, you know, like some have them somewhere on their face or their neck or whatever. They say about the birthmarks that this is the place where somebody killed you. What do you say about this theory?
I think
It's bullshit. Because our body, like this time, this incarnation, it has nothing to do with our body the last time. And it just like our soul that transfers from one place to another. But it doesn't influence our body in any way. It just influences our psyche or some like physical reactions to stuff because it's connected to our psyche.
Yeah.
But not to the physical, like, ooh, I have a scar on my arm. Maybe it's because in the last life I also had a scar on my arm. No. Yeah, you can believe in what you want to believe. I am not like going around and telling to people like you cannot believe in this bullshit. But for me it sounds very funny. The soul isn't connected physically to our body. Like, it has no connection. It just chooses a lifetime, the experiences, but it cannot influence the body it will be born in.
Did it work? Did you figure something out about my past life?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, of course.
Ooh.
But I always say that the only past life I can see is the most resourceful one, or maybe like you use it somehow in this life, or it's just useful for you, or it has some troubles that you continue to work on in this life.
So this past life could actually help me with my troubles now?
I don't think if it could help you, it could bring some light to some of the troubles. For example, knowing it could release some blocks, like energy blocks, or like unconscious blocks that exist. The moment you know your past life, you're like, ooh, that's why. Like,
okay.
It's more on the, not on the surface level, it's more like on the deep level. And I don't know if you know Hellinger.
No.
He is a psychotherapist, and he was. And he created a method of group therapy, which is called settings. They work in a similar way. It's just a very interesting thing in general. You can look it up if you want to.
Like some kind of hypnosis or something like this.
More like therapy. Have you been?
To therapy?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, because
maybe after what you say I will be.
I hope it will be only good reasons, you know?
Okay.
I won't traumatize you.
So I'm excited.
Okay.
What was my past life? Finally.
Okay. It was kind of like strange, the person, like the past self. This past self wasn't very talkative. Like, he was not very amused in general, you know? So I feel like he lived in Australia, somewhere around 1920. His name was Caleb, and he was already like an old guy in 1920. So he was born in 18 something. He had some like mental illness. He was obsessed with some sea monster. Sounds great, I know. But like, I don't know how it developed. I just saw him like in this old age going around the coast and talking like to himself or to me or like to space about the sea monster, that he will catch it and he will like beat it down, and he knows that it lives there, like in this bay or something like this. And it was like his main focus of his life, at least in the last decades of his life. He was kind of very obsessed with it. And what else? He built like a watchtower on the beach or something.
It's great. He was really dedicated to this.
Yeah, he was very dedicated, and he was like, it was kind of his job. He had the attitude that it's his duty to see this monster and to catch it and to kill it, you know, like a night. So he had this watchtower that he built, and like when you asked me like 2 questions about was he happy and how did he die. So when I asked him how did he die, he was like, I would love to die in the sea beating this monster. So like everything about him was like monster. I'm going to beat him. Usually like you see something else, like at least about family, how a person grew up, or like at least some of the life.
Yes.
But I think his life was very concentrated on this thing. He said about happiness, he said that this is a very silly question and who would ask that. He actually died when he was on the watchtower, like just of old age. He was just watching the sea, and he just died. Like, I don't know, maybe like heart stopped or something like that.
Okay.
And the resource of this life was persistence, as you can imagine. So even when it was like very unhealthy way, but he was very dedicated, very persistent, and he was like very determined to reach his goal.
Yes. You said like around 1920. How much lifetime do you believe is between lives?
I think that it's kind of strange because we don't live in the same dimension that we live when we don't live, you know?
Yes.
So it's like the time difference can be strange.
Okay.
So bringing back the analogy with the Sims game.
Yes.
Don't play Sims. Do you think Sims live and they feel the time passing? I don't think so. They are just on pause, or they just don't exist until we open the game again. So it's kind of like that. So the life that our soul wants to go through doesn't exist until we start it, until we choose it and go into the game. And it's very possible that you had like a dozen of lifetimes between those 80 years or in those 80 years, because there are a lot of variants of the same universe, for example, and you could live in the different ones. There are also different worlds.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I didn't want to interrupt you, but actually I don't talk a lot to people I don't know, even if it doesn't seem like this on social media. This is different for me, but like about my feelings or something, I nearly don't talk about this because it's not so relevant to me to talk about this with other people. And also, if I love one thing, it's the sea, so it's pretty fitting. And also what you said, because he was so dedicated to hunt this monster, in everything I do, if I have one specific thing what I do at the time, it can be just a simple computer game or whatever, then I put my entire energy into this. So it's pretty funny. I don't hunt for sea monsters now, but maybe I do for other stuff.
There's hidden potential.
but it makes sense. It's scary.
But it's like, it should make sense, because when I found out who my the most active past life is, I understood why am I like this? Why do I want to be more like this? If it makes sense. So I think that I am quite charismatic. Let's say that. And I aspire to be even more charismatic and be more good with words and more good with how I present myself, how I sell myself, if you will. Mm-hmm. And my past self, it was his life.
Yes.
the military, not leader, but leader of some group of soldiers. Mm-hmm. And you need to be very good with words. You need to have leadership skills. You have to be very charismatic to lead people to death. I understood why I have the starting skills already, and why I want to pursue them.
Are you still leading people to death?
Not.
But I'm really, really impressed by this. I didn't think it would turn out like it's such a little thing, and you say also like normally they talk about their family or something. But like I said, when I have something I really like, I'm so focused on this that I often forget the rest. Even if it's a stupid sea monster.
It's your resource.
What do you think I'm learning from this, from my past life? So now I figured out maybe why I do certain things like this, but how can I work with this?
So for example, why am I asking every time what is a resource? Because this helps the person who like got this random information what they can focus on. So for example, for you it is persistence. You can look at persistence as a way of charging. So it's not you spending your energy or something, it's you charging from the way you do that. Like if you're watching like a TV show, you watch from the first to the last season in one night or in one day, and it's your way of charging yourself. Because if you do stuff with more persistence and you have intention to do that with persistence, you are using this resource. That's already good. When you know it, when you know how to charge when you don't feel good. The next thing you could do, it's like you could go and research sea monsters, for example. Why this person was so obsessed with one? Was there ever like a legend of a sea monster around Australia, or like, I don't know, around Sydney or something?
Now I will just wander off to Australia and search a sea monster. Maybe this is why you lead people to death. I see.
I hope not. But like, it's more complicated in our lifetimes and in our situation to go to the origin of our past life. But it's also a good way to, I don't know, to discover this place. But what you can also do, you can watch some documentaries about Australia in 1920s, how people lived in 1920s, how like old people lived in that period of time, or like in the middle of 19th century, because I think he started his life in the middle of 19th century.
Yes.
Yeah, and you should just go through the whole, like, this information, I don't know, read about this type of mental illness, like obsessive disorder or something like that, when a person has a very obsessive idea and they build their life around it. And you just see what is resonating with you, what you feel like is very, like, strangely similar, even though you don't have it here in your life right now.
Yes.
But you kind of, ooh, it got me chills. So
it actually did.
But yeah, I mean, like, what you can do yourself without going into regression. There are a lot of ways you can discover what your past lives were, without getting a lot of details about it, of course, but in general, knowing where you lived or when you lived, where in society you lived, like, were you rich or not? I don't know, was he rich or not? I just know that he died near the ocean, and that's all.
Well, it's something. I like the ocean.
Yeah, and it was very nice. Like, I could feel that it was a very nice place to be. So the coast, he loved the coast, he loved, like, to swim there, but he knew that the monster is there.
Actually, one really important question, because he was so dedicated. Did he ever see this monster?
I think he thinks he saw it.
Okay, that's enough. He believed in something really strongly.
Yeah, he hallucinated maybe, I don't know.
What do you want to say?
Or maybe, like, I feel like he saw a big whale or something. And he got confused. and because you don't see them often from this type of place, like just the beach. I think his psyche wasn't very like strong, and he was prone to developing an illness, and it just developed. I think that's what it was, but it's just my assumption.
Yes, I think he was haunting a real sea monster.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's from another dimension of our universe where the monsters exist.
If someone of your viewers or my viewers wanna see their past lives, where can they find you, or how can they contact you?
So my main like source of giving my services, I don't know, like providing my services is through Instagram right now. I don't know if you can like write it on somewhere on.
I can write it wherever you want. If you just point to it, it will.
Okay.
Yay!
You can find me here. You can also follow me on my TikTok page. It's not that like past 𝗟𝗃𝗃, but it's fun.
Well, it's how I found you about past lives. Thank you again. It was really nice to talk to you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You too, thank you.
I hope you really enjoyed watching this video. And what I have to say about my story is, for other people this story might sound stupid, but for me it just made sense. If you want, check her out on her Instagram or TikTok. And if you want to hear more mysterious stories, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thank you, and see you guys another time. Adios.